There's been lots of films and TV specials around the story of Lizzie Borden, some of which have been more successful than others. What this film has going for it is its lead cast in Chloe Sevigny and Kristen Stewart, and its director, Craig William McNeil. He's a relatively new director. He's made one TV show that's quite well known called Candle Cove, or Channel Zero Series 1. The film's adaptation of the real-life Borden murders is a little confusing. I'm not sure exactly how accurate they wanted it to be, so I'm not going to dock them points for that. I think they may have just wanted to tell their own story with this as a kind of backdrop. But they do take a number of liberties with it. The film portrays Borden and her maid as being in a sexual relationship, a romantic one, and that's something that isn't necessarily directly supported by the facts around the murder. And so with that in mind, the film's structure kind of revolves around Borden and this young woman played by Kristen Stewart falling in love with each other, and then when that's discovered, them dealing with that and masterminding the murder of the Bordens. The filmmakers make quite a strong structural decision, which is to have the murders take place right at the start of the film, then have the majority of the film be the lead up to the murders, and then using the murders as a sort of climax to the movie. Now I can see why that works on paper. You think, oh yeah, great, we'll put the murders at the climax of the film, it'd be a nice bloody climax. But arguably the real climax of the movie is Borden being rejected by her maid, by her lover, after the murders take place because of the murders. And that's robbed of its emotional weight a little bit because it is so heavily interchopped with the actual murders taking place. The cinematography of the film is really interesting. It's kind of used some horror tropes to tell a psychosexual drama story, essentially. The exteriors are often hazy and overexposed, where the interiors are often dark, dank, and underexposed. There's a lack of strong colour and contrast in the film that's made even more pronounced by the decision of the filmmakers to often film through objects. They're often looking through doorways, or more often than not, windows with that old sort of glass that's kind of warped and a bit distorted. All of this builds up to communicate the sense of confinement that the different women feel in the film, in different ways, of course. They're all confined in terms of their actions through what society thinks of them or what they ought to do. And the formality with which the film is shot only serves to make the handheld shots later on feel even more manic. Unfortunately, all of that lovely cinematography can't bring to life the script, which is stilted, still, and plain. There's this real sense of periodness in the dialogue, which feels inauthentic. People didn't really speak like they wrote letters or spoke in public speeches back then. There were real dialects and different ways of speaking throughout the whole of history. So to have this kind of like oldie-worldy type speech always feels a little inauthentic, especially in a film like this that's supposed to be dealing in a more authentic way with the social dynamics of the period. As far as the acting is concerned, Sevigny simmers, then struggles, and eventually sizzles out. I think that's more of the script's fault than it is hers. She just doesn't have enough to do in the movie. Stewart, on the other hand, is an absolute revelation. Well, I say that. I think she's been really good in a lot of films, not least Personal Shopper, but here she's astonishing. She's this saturnine, shadowy, shrinking presence, always hunched over and hiding in the background. She is oppression physically translated on screen, and she's one of the film's great assets. Fiona Shaw is also excellent in supporting cast, and Dennis O'Hare, better known for his work in American Horror Story, also turns in a capable supporting turn. Lizzie then is a complicated failure, a film that's bad in its conception but supported by a lot of good craft from everyone involved. It's the kind of film that makes me say, I'd like you to go back and do a different film with the same money and the same cast and the same amount of time, and I'd like to see what you turned out with. So this is either good with a pinch of salt or bad with a silver lining. Take your pick. That's it from me. Bye for now.